Hello, my loves. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome into this video for the full moon in Aries. So for those of you who are new, hello and welcome in. It's great to have you here. If you want to learn more about how to get the most out of these readings, the kind of energies I call in, the kinds of ways that I encourage you to engage with this material and your spiritual support team that we work with to get guidance for these phases and to learn more about ourselves, you can check out my tutorial video on how to get the most out of these videos. It's like a welcome video. It covers the things that I say over and over again and gets you caught up to speed with how to get the most out of what I'm offering. It's totally not necessary, but it is an option available to you if that feels good and aligned. So to those who are not new, hello and welcome back in. Thank you guys so much for being here. I truly appreciate having you here. It is really fun to be able to offer this service as I'm learning more and diving deeper into this amazing modality of astrology, and the combination of it with the cards is just really super fun. And so I've been enjoying the guidance that's coming through and benefiting from it. And I know you guys have been commenting that you have as well. And it really means a lot to me. So just taking this moment, as I do every video, to connect with you and to let you know how much I appreciate you being here and how much of an honor it is to be able to be of service to you in this way. So let's talk about full moon energy. The cycle of a full moon is always going to give us the opportunity to celebrate. It's this pinnacle moment where all of the energy of a certain archetype is being celebrated, honored. It's at the fullest of its potential. So every time there's a full moon, it's always going to be in the opposite sign of where the sun is in. So each sign of the zodiac has an opposite. And the opposite of Libra, which is the solar season we're in, if you haven't watched my solar season Libra readings, which gives you more information about the Libra archetype and clues you in to where this energy shows up in your life, and of course gives you guidance to how to navigate this solar season, check those out. So the opposite of Libra is the energy of Aries. So the moon was new in Aries 6 months ago. And that's going to become more relevant. The 6-month period between phases, new and full, is going to be relevant next month because we have an eclipse. And eclipse energies typically last those entire 6 months, whereas the energy of the traditional moon cycles only lasts for about 28 days. So you'll see here that we're having this full moon in Aries, which is the opposite of Libra, on October 9th, and it's going to be happening at 16:55 Eastern time. And our energies here are going to be relevant until November 8th, which is when the full moon in Taurus happens, and that will be an eclipse. So that will be really referencing the last 6 months. But the full moon energy here, let's get back to that, is a celebration. The archetype of Aries is the energy of the beginning of the zodiac. It's this spark vibration. It's what gets everything into motion, into action. And it's the energy of passion. So we are going to be diving into where emotionally in your life there is a celebration of passion, and where energetically in your life, like where specifically is that celebration happening in your life. So how does it relate to the emotions, this celebration of passion, and where does it relate to you? So the two things that you're going to be watching for in these readings, you're going to be watching for 2 different alignments. Don't worry if you're not on the right video right now. I'm going to tell you how to find which videos to watch, and then you can navigate to the right video when it's time, when you're done watching this introduction. It's the same for everybody, okay? So the first reading that you're going to want to tune into is the advice for where the moon was when you were born. So you are going to need your birth chart. So on your birth chart, you're going to be looking for this symbol, and you're going to be looking for the astrological sign, the zodiac sign, that this symbol is in. If you do not know how to access your birth information, how to read a birth chart, I created a tutorial video to help navigate you through that system. You can go ahead and watch that tutorial video. Ask me questions at the end if you do not understand enough to guide yourself to the right videos, and I will be happy to explain. So you're going to want to know where the moon was when you were born, and you're going to want to watch the advice that's relevant for where the moon was when you were born. The other alignment you're going to watch for is where this full moon is happening in your life. To know where this full moon is happening in your life, you're going to look for 16 degrees, 33 minutes of Aries, and you're going to find which house that occurs for you. And then you'll watch that relevant advice. Again, if you don't understand what that means, that tutorial video will cover how to find out which house this is in for you. Now, I've created a new tutorial video to show you how to use the whole house system. I love the whole house system. I think it's very easy to explain, especially for people who are very new to astrology, and it makes it a lot easier to understand. So essentially, if you already know your rising sign, if you're using the whole house system, you can find out which house Aries is in by going through the zodiac from your ascending sign all the way until you find Aries. So my ascending sign is Virgo. Okay, so that would be the first house. The next sign in the zodiac is Libra, second house. Third house would be Scorpio. Fourth would be Sagittarius. Fifth would be Capricorn. Sixth would be Aquarius. Seventh would be Pisces. Eighth would be Aries. Okay, so you have to know the order of the zodiac, and you have to know your ascending sign to be able to utilize the whole house system to find out which house this is in for you. You can also utilize any other house system and just watch the advice that's relevant for the house system that you're watching. And if all of that went over your head, watch the tutorial video. It'll explain, okay? I don't want to leave you guys in the dust here, but I have been leaving little breadcrumbs and giving you videos that you can watch and access to help you navigate these understandings, these awarenesses, these readings. So we are going to be getting guidance from the Goddess Power Oracle by Collette Reid. And before we dive into the individual readings, I just want to let you guys know that there's many ways you can support me as I support you, as we support each other. You can join my chakra meditation service. It's on WhatsApp. It's only $14.40 a month. You can sign up at devotedandvulnerable.com/services, which is also where you will find my new chart reading services that I'm going to be offering. I'm very excited to roll out this service, and I'm also very nervous about it. I'm even having trouble talking about it because it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I finally feel ready, and I'm really excited to dive into your chart with you. If you want to learn more about the uniqueness of you, the geometry of you, beyond what I offer in these free readings. And of course, you can always comment on the videos. That helps me with the algorithms and gets me out to more people. And you can always share this with people. And there's always the option to donate if you feel inspired to do that at paypal.me/devotedvulnerable. Link is in the description. Let's get to your individual readings. So this reading is for you if the moon was in Libra when you were born, and or if this full moon in Aries, 16 degrees, 55 minutes, occurs in your 7th house. If you haven't already called in your spiritual support team, opened your heart to receiving the guidance that's coming through, and taken a few deep breaths, I invite you to do that now. Pause the video if you need more time, and let's find out what guidance is here for you. There it is. Ooh, Hecate, or Hecate, or Hecate. Hecate is what I say. I don't know if that's right. She represents the in-between. Her number is 20, so you may see the numbers 20 coming up in your life to validate this message, this lunar phase. Here's her message for us. You are standing in the liminal spaces between what was and what will be, who you have been and who you are becoming. The Greek goddess of crossroads and the in-between, Hecate, welcomes you to her domain and reminds you that neither place is your home. You're being tasked to carefully choose the direction of your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and actions. Now is not the time for hasty action or stubbornness, but a fierce self-inventory. Bless the past for what it has provided and release all attachments to the stories of what was. Now is the time to understand the responsibilities required of you as you move forward into a new version of yourself as yet unformed. Who do you want to become? What kind of life are you prepared to live? And how will you wisely wield your power to co-create a new world beneficial for others, not just yourself? You have the magic of Hecate pulsing through you and calling you to answer. Say yes and step into the unknown to discover what is not yet manifest. As soon as you do, the goddess Hecate will bring you her eternal torch to light your way. Wow. Yeah. Lot to take in there. Pause if you need to journal. I'm going to go into the moon energies here. If you're here for the house energies, just scroll right ahead. So first I'm going to describe what the moon in Libra means real quick. If you already know that, just scroll to the interpretation. So the moon represents the emotions in your life. Where it is in represents how your emotions express. So your heart, your emotions express themselves through the Libra archetype, which is the energy of the scales. It is an air sign. It is a cardinal air sign, which means it starts the season. It starts the season of fall. So the energy of your emotions are air-like, which is a very mental energy. It's a very, just going to say mental. And the archetype of the scales has to do with balance. Your emotions like balance. You like to keep the peace. You're very graceful. You're very idealistic, very hospitable, very diplomatic, especially when it comes to your emotions. So let's interpret that with this beautiful Hecate in between. You, my friend, are celebrating the end of something, the end of who you were, the end of an old story, and you are developing, planning out the as yet unformed who you're going to be. And so this is what you're celebrating. It seems like an odd thing to celebrate, but the full moon in Aries really wants you, and Hecate and your support team and myself want you to celebrate this transitional space that you are in, especially with your emotions. Your emotions feel like, oh my gosh, it almost feels like the scales are finally like balancing for you. Or like you've had a realization that like something you've been trying to like balance on the scales, you're just taking it off entirely. You're like, I'm no longer going to try to make this work in my life because it's just not supportive, but you don't know what you're going to replace that with yet. Does that make sense as an analogy of the scales? Hopefully it does. Comment if it doesn't, or if it does. So when it comes to your emotions, you are celebrating the transitional space that you are in. And I would say the answers to those questions that she was asking, who do you want to become? Your focus should be on these Libra qualities because your heart really wants peace. You really want there to be a balance within the world. What is your part in that? How are you willing to live? What are you willing to do to embrace that change, that idealism that you want to live for? And as you're releasing that which no longer serves you, the identities, the habits, the emotions that no longer serve you, and you're calling in this newness, you're being invited to celebrate that you don't quite know yet what you're calling in. It seems like a contradiction, but this is actually a very powerful place for you to be. It's a very powerful place for you to be celebrating your newness. So definitely look into where this is happening. So where is the full moon happening? Which house? So this is the area of your life that you're most likely experiencing this emotional transition. And there's going to be extra guidance for how to navigate that area of your life with the goddess power. Okay. That's all I have for you for this one. Celebrate the change, celebrate your transition, and celebrate what is not yet known and manifest. And figure out where in your life this is happening by watching the moon reading, the house reading. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste. So the full moon, 16 degrees, 33 minutes in Aries, occurs in your 7th house. Your 7th house is being pinged. The area of your life that the emotional message and this one here is relevant for is the 7th house. If you already know the energies of the 7th house, scroll ahead to the interpretation. We're going to dive in right here. So the 7th house is the area of your life that deals with relationships, particularly, specifically, one-on-one relationships. So this is long-term partnerships, this is marriages, this is enemies, this is contracts between people, this is business vibrations. So where you're experiencing this celebration is in this life's, or in this area of your life, in your one-on-one relationships. Now, how does this relate to Hecate? Well, your relationships are in transition right now, my friend. And you are being invited to celebrate the transition of the people who are leaving. And as you decide the energies that you're calling in, you might not see the replacements coming in yet, but you're just being invited to celebrate that this is a time of creation. This is a time of in-between. This is a time of deciding. Answer those questions that she posed to you. Utilize the guidance that was coming through for your emotional alignment and apply it to this area of your life. Apply it to your relationships. Apply it to this in-between space here that you are in. What are your emotions inviting you into deeper, okay? What are you being invited to celebrate? What is in focus right now for you? And what are you calling in? This is what you're being invited to ask yourself as you celebrate this amazing space of creation that you are in right now, especially when it comes to your relationships. We can't call in something different until we know what it is that we desire, what it is that we want. And this is a powerful place to be. It's where everything begins. It's where the magic happens, really. The rest of it's just kind of surrendering while the person or the situation comes towards you. In this case, because it's in your relationships, it's most likely a person coming in to fill that energy of what it is that you're calling in. But you're not quite sure what you're calling in yet. You're not going to go interview people for a position if you don't know what the position's going to do yet, right? Does that make sense? Like what duties that position has. So that's what you're really focusing on, and celebrating is this creative space. And I would sit down and write down what I'm looking for, what I'm releasing from my relationships, and then really dig deep and ask, what am I calling in to my relationships? Calling in harmony, calling in compassion, calling in peace, calling in excitement, calling in adventure. What is it? What lights you up? And relating your emotional message to this. If you have trouble relating the messages, comment here. I will help you understand. You got to let me know your moon sign. I will help relate the two messages for you. That's all I have for you, my beautiful 7th housers. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the full moon in Aries. Enjoy the space of in-between creation and celebration of that. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste.